And I guess we're live now. Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Good morning, good afternoon. Please write something in the chat that you can hear me and see us well. Hello. Yes. Hello, Sai. So
Very good.
Perfect. So, if anyone will have any troubles with the connections or some technical issues, please just reload the page and everything should work pretty fine. So, I see that there are some people who already join us. Hello, everyone. And let us still wait a couple more minutes because some people are still joining us. And while we're waiting, let us get to know each other a little bit better. So feel free to write in the chat where are you from, say hi, and what is the project you're working on with, what is the company you represent. Hello from Germany. Yes, hi. I guess
another Johannes, very good.
Yes, I guess for lots of people, this is almost the last webinar session, so everyone should be so chilly and feel free to chat with us. We still have some time. Okay, hi, perfect. So now it's really magical time of the year. It's the last month. It's the end of the year, and what a year it is! 2020 is, how to say politely, a very special one. And 2 more weeks, and we're done. It's like we almost went through it. And during this period, users, pardon, it's like a professional thing. People tend to collect the list of their achievements that they had in the passing year, or to recap their personal or the career stuff. And we are here today to do the same thing, but for the mobile marketing industry. So today we are going to discuss the state of mobile marketing changes that happened and still happening in 2020, and we'll trim it a little bit about the further things that might happen in the next year. So to do this, we invited today our great experts, speaking of which, we have here today my first and favorite teammate from AppFollow company, Ilia.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I'm just laughing. You have an awesome T-shirt, Thomas. That's just can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm seeing it. That's really great. Okay. Amazing. Yeah. So a little bit, about myself. Thank you for letting me speak. So hi everyone, welcome to our last webinar in this year. So let's do it like a chilly thing. No officials, no formal things, just a discussion. So as for me, I guess I'm working in like ASO for like 6 years already. And right now I'm a head of ASO in AppFollow and ASO expert in avia sales. So today we're going to share with you some our thoughts about the ASO industry, about what we are waiting for next year. So what can be or what can't be happening. So that's it. And I guess we can go next in our intro.
Okay, thanks, Ilia. And also today, the co-founder of Grow First app marketing agency, Johannes, has joined us today. Johannes, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, happy to be here, and thanks for the invitation to you guys, Ilia and Anna, and the whole AppFollow team. And also nice to see some folks in the chat. For the people who don't know me, I'm, like Anna said, one of the co-founders of a German app marketing agency called Grow First, and we're working with all types of clients, mainly German DACH-focused app publishers on ASO performance marketing, analytics, growth challenges, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, looking forward to the discussion. I think that's for me for now.
Great, Johannes, thanks. And the last but not the least, I'm sure the whole our audience definitely knows this guy. Thomas, how are you? You already got so many compliments to the t-shirt.
Yeah, Thomas, I guess you need to turn on your mic.
Oh, yes. You're unmuted now. And now Thomas decided to leave our conversation.
That's quite a radical way to turn on the mic, I guess.
It wouldn't be 2020 if there weren't any technical issues, I guess, so that's okay.
Exactly. So that's why I warn everyone just how to reload the page.
Yeah, so we can make an intro for Thomas.
Very nice, very well-known one.
Just Google him. I think that will do it.
Yeah, Thomas, one of the most famous ASI experts in Europe, and I hope in someday in the world. So the great guy that knows everything about ASI and paid marketing and Apple search ads, and I guess like maybe he knows more than me, more than us together. So I guess that's an awesome warm intro for the Thomas.
Yeah, very nice one. Thanks, Ilia. I guess like Thomas will join us like in a second, so we're still waiting for him. So I'm just reminding that my name is Anna, and I'm head of consulting department at AppFollow. So I will be the moderator of our discussion. And guys, I'm speaking about with our audience now. You had a very nice chance to contribute in our discussion, and please feel free to ask all the questions in the chat section. I will definitely drop these questions to our experts, and we will answer them. And now we have Thomas. And
no. Not this time. Okay. Yeah, let's go. So Thomas will join us.
Yeah, I think so too.
And this is the third.
The third attempt.
Yeah, the third.
Hi, Thomas. We can hear you. Yes.
I'll try to fix on the go. Let's continue. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I already made a very warm intro from you, but probably want to say something to our audience.
Nice. Thanks, Ilia. Yeah, I'm Thomas. If you don't know me, probably your internet connection was broken all year. Just like Johannes, I'm working on pretty broad topic. Came from more of the ASO side at the beginning, then paid, and now a little bit of everything. Data, measurement, creative, strategy, you name it. Yeah, happy to be here today and share with Johannes and Ilia. So thanks very much to the AppFollow team. Always love what you're doing, guys. Thanks.
Okay, so while you're still trying to fix your camera, probably we hope that we will see you soon. Guys, I think we are about to start. So one more reminder for our audience. Thank you for joining us, and feel free to ask everything. It will be very good for us to also share our experience with you. My first questions to our experts would be, how do you feel about this creepy year? Just kidding. So many stuff and things have happened during this year, and some stuff has touched our digital world. And let us make a quick recap and full overview of the mobile marketing industry as itself. So how do you think? What are the most significant changes that happened in 2020 in the mobile marketing industry? So Johannes, I believe you want to start.
Yeah, sure. It's a big question, I guess, and there are many answers to this. But if COVID has shown something in particular to the digital world and mobile especially, it's that the digital business is here to stay, and everything will shift towards there. If it's budget and also manpower and focus in general from companies. And I think the high CPC and CPM prices we're seeing right now, which are kind of typical because we're in the end rally of this year, and all the Christmas shopping happening mainly online now due to COVID. This is one sign we're seeing where I think this will continue in the next year and the following next years, that more and more budgets will go into online and therefore mobile, always depending on the vertical for sure. But I think, user acquisition will be a big issue in the next years, and a very difficult one with all those IDFA changes, privacy changes in general. So I think marketeers will need to get a deep understanding about what is happening there, about the technical groundwork, and how to work around it or work with it, better to say. That's more of a general statement, I know, but I think in this is the main focus we're looking at.
That's true. Totally agree with the first point you mentioned. Thanks to COVID and pandemic thing, lots of my favorite restaurants finally made a delivery. So there are some positive stuff, definitely. Johannes, you touched a very big and very burning topic, the IDFA changes, and I think we need to discuss it in more in more details. So probably Ilia or Thomas want to start this huge topic.
Yeah, actually,
Sorry, yeah, go first if you want.
I just want to mention one thing that the one app that I'm working on is a travel app. So during this year, we have a huge change in our strategy. We had a huge change in our overall performance and overall, like a rebooted our brains talking about the user acquisition and marketing performance and all this stuff. So this is was a huge reboot, and we just made new things during this year, new approaches to the ASO and other stuff. So I guess the travel industry was the one who actually suffered most from all this situation. But I see that other industries like games, they're just happy that they're getting lots of downloads, lots of revenue because everybody is sitting at home. But I see also the other audio streaming and other services, they also not feeling good because people are used to listen audiobooks and other stuff while commuting. But right now they're not commuting actually, commuting from your bed to your kitchen is not that it. So you're not listening the stuff. So there are lots of changes actually, but for us in travel, that was a huge year with everything going from up to down. And talking about IDFA, we are in our apps, we won't ask users to share their IDFA because we heard that only 5 or 10% of users actually agreed with sharing data. So that's nothing. We can't make any decisions based on 10% of users that shared their IDFA. So we will try to attribute with these users with other options. And so let's see how it works. So do you have anything to add here, Thomas?
I'm sort of going to keep this topic for 2021 because we all thought that it was going to start in September and we're all scrambling. But at the end of the day, we're not there yet. So obviously the announcement is big and it's something to prepare for next year, but it's not entirely real for now. So before that, I would second your comment. For me, there were 3 big things this year. One is the consequences of COVID, which, like you said, could be really bad, pretty much shutting down in some case. For travel, mobility is the same. Also, music suffered as well. I've got a music client, and it was a bit tough. For some, it was awesome. I also have a couple of education clients for whom it was jackpot in a way. And you have to adjust strategies there. I think here's something that people are not fully grasping sometimes. Well, the good thing about that, vertical changing up and down, is for once, the reports from the industry, the app intelligence tools and stuff, for once they have something to say. It was not okay, everybody up 20%, the last 5 years, but some radical change. And I think we accept, of course, if your business is going down, it's not great. But even for the business who's gone up, it forces you to have questions. Also, it's not it's going to last forever, even if you're Zoom or something. I think it makes ask hard questions, and that's good. But one thing that people underestimate a little bit is that, usage has gone up dramatically for a bunch of verticals, including gaming, education, even at-home fitness, a few others, like language learning and so on. But actually, the revenue trend was not exactly the same as the usual. And we also have to adjust to realities of, if I project what I thought pre-COVID, I'm probably in the wrong. I think it's good because it forces us to relook at our data, revisit our assumptions, adapt, and probably next year is going to be different again, but at least we're looking at it very closely. So that was sort of the big first change. The second one is the one for next year about the IDFA. I still think there's a big, like, I mean, the third one I would add is every year, Q4 is a bit of a drama. Everybody's shouting around, but what everybody's doing is putting more money in there. Like there's more pressure on the network's inventory, and we're all looking at CPIs going up and all. I think this year has been particularly hard, like for a lot of people. And I've got a lot of clients who are like, I don't know, my performance dropping. What is it? I think there are a lot of things happening, like some retail coming back to the market. Some people who want to spend their budget before the IDFA deprecation come in. Some people who are just scared. Like we're now having competition from business who are not really digital, and because of COVID, they were forced to get there. And of course, there's more competition. At the end of the day, I think it's good, but it's true that like right now, times are a little bit tough for guys in paid UA. Also because the IDFA actually partly started. I wrote something a little bit technical about this, like that is, it's already partly affecting like how the networks are doing. And I think like we're now approaching like the end of the quarter, but for a lot of the quarter, I had companies who were like, okay, what are we going to do next year? I'm like, maybe you should worry about what's happening right now, like because with the US election, the Black Friday, and Q4, and this and that, it's actually a nightmare quarter if I'm looking at the numbers I'm seeing, and it's been tough for a lot of people, even those who were in verticals that boomed in Q2. Also because, I mean, there's a moment we're not, even if you're locked down at home, you don't want to be on your mobile all day, and you need to breathe, you need to socialize, you need to take some air, even if you don't see people. And a lot of them, they are like sort of a huge spike up, but then it's not going to grow forever at that rate. And it's been a tough quarter, I think, for a lot of people. So my advice to everybody is take a little rest for the holidays, because next year is not looking great either. So let's come back with the energy. Yeah, so that would be my summary for this year.
That's a great advice. Thank you.
That was Thomas with really inspiring suggestions to our audience. Thanks, guys. Actually, also just like one thing I want to add about the industry. During the pandemic, like thing at the beginning, all rounds and investment things were really stopped and paused. But now we see that lots of companies and small projects start to receive some monies and investments. And if we see about on this diversity of the projects, lots of them are related to education sphere, and some video calls and like stuff like a house party or Zoom, like small projects that try to stream and connect people with the video things. So this is also kind of a validation of the things that might be popular next year and like not that much suffered during the like last half of the quarter. Did you see some examples of such investments, like recent ones?
You see, I think that the personal relationship when you actually meeting with people will always work better. So you can make awesome VR, AR, Zoom calls. You can make like the virtual offices with like dragging your icons around, but it won't replace the actually meeting by person. So of course, we don't have a choice actually right now. So we need to work in this situation. So I guess this I don't actually know a lot about the investments and all this stuff, but I see that people, even those people in, for example, like my friends that I used to work in offices for years, they actually are working at home and they are doing good. So people are just used to it, and it's, I guess, if these closed borders things and others will continue during like a half of the next year, we can go online. But the question is, will we go offline after the borders will open? So this is, yeah, will we go offline? So, or it just remains the same?
I think we'll be hungry for it, you know, sharing beers and sharing hands. Like when we'll be able to do it, we're social animals. We'll need it. And I also see you mentioned like sort of the investment ecosystem, and what I'm saying is, a lot of them, they can operate in the distance and they do the due diligence on Zoom calls and all, but it's a business where there's a lot of instinct and trust, and this is really hard to build on a call. And even though they have been able to operate like digitally and through Zoom and whatnot,
Mhm.
there is a strong trust component that is really hard to get without being in person. Sometimes you make, especially in the very early stage investment, when there is less practical stuff to look around. It's like you don't really look at number, you look how strong is the founder. I have a couple of very, very early stage investment, and it's much harder like to estimate, like, do I trust that the founder at what it takes to do 3 or 4 pivots in the next 2 years if you only know him through Zoom calls? It's a bit different. So I guess humanly we will want it, but a lot of sectors they actually need that part, like, to make better decision. I mean, we're dealing with what we have, but I think as soon as we'll maybe we won't go back 100% to the office, and it will change, but definitely it's not going to stay fully online. This is suboptimal, which I learned is a Google word to say it's complete shit.
Yeah, I think some things will stay, some patterns, and being remote before COVID myself, I have to say I like working remote, and remote is not equal like home office. I want to separate these things because you can be remote, but you don't have to be at home. And it's especially good for deep work, I guess. So if you have to crunch numbers and going into Excel spreadsheets or something like that, remote work is great because you can define where you want to work and without distraction and in which environment.
Mhm.
But I'm with you guys that from time to time you have to visit people, even for if it's just for great steps like kickoff workshops or some quarterly meetings or something like that. So I think we will see both worlds, and it's an interesting thing you brought up before, because you said, okay, now we're seeing a very different behavior this year from people in the workspace, but also personal space. And I think those work-related things like more Zoom calls and less meetings in general and tools like Slack or Microsoft Teams, those are the cohorts, I think, from 2020 which will stick, because like you mentioned, gaming is booming, okay, because people have time and no other things to do. But I don't think that those cohorts will stick very long. They will shift away if it's possible to go out and drink a beer with colleagues and friends. So those more work related or more, how do I say it, personal growth things, I think those will stay in the app business, but also in digital in general.
Definitely. So, but yeah, like lots of changes, and like these affects that, of course, are connected with our new reality, which is pandemic and working from home processes. But we now are a little bit shifting from the whole industry to the specific questions. As soon as we are here, all not only the mobile marketing experts, but also the ESO experts, let us discuss what trends and what specific changes happened in the ASO sphere. I'm talking about the changes in the Google Play Console, App Store Connect, the new Mac Store, the iOS 14. Let us discuss what are the huge new things that are related to the ASO. Ilia, you definitely want to start here.
So the one thing I guess we can start with, that this working from home and remote thing actually affected our partners, our consoles, because we see all these updates in the App Store Connect and the Google Play Console that actually, I guess in some cases they are great. So there are lots of great updates, but they seems to be like unfinished or unpolished. They had to they have to wait for a little bit. They have to spend more time to finish it. So, and I guess this can be affected by the remote work.
It's nice excuse.
Yeah. So another thing actually I would like to mention is that I have got my first Mac Mini on M1 chip yesterday, and the first thing I tried to make to install some apps from the Mac Store. Like, this iPhone and iPad apps was transferred to the Mac Store, and I spent like 20 minutes on playing with this, and I can't find the way how should I use these apps. So I actually don't need them on my desktop because I have some. I tried my money spending apps. I tried with my sports apps to read some articles, but actually I don't need them on my desktop. I can open the website and just do whatever I want. I tried some other apps, and actually we talked a lot about these when this was announced. But right now, actually, I don't see the big thing here. Maybe when for example, some beautiful apps like Slack and Notion will actually move to the new architecture. They move to the Mac App Store, and actually it will be a real app, not just a web view in the wrap with icon. So maybe it will work. So this was actually when I first heard about this Mac Store, iOS apps, all these things. I was really excited because that's great. You have the ability to launch iPhone and iPad apps on the Mac. And when I tried it, I'm a little bit disappointed because actually I didn't find the use case for myself when using this app. So this is just something.
So
maybe
you think that there is no need to install the apps for the Mac Store, and there is like the future of this is kind of.
It's. I think it's too early. We need to we need to come back to the question, like for example, in a year, and there is no way to make the specific ISO for these apps, and there is just a tick in the App Store Connect that, yeah, my app is available for the Mac Store. So Thomas, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm actually not very surprised, but I think it's kind of a good thing. And the reason I'm not very surprised is first their habits. You know, you're on the device, you're using it this way. It's sort of, even if it changes, it will take like a bit of time. It's not going to be radically like from a day to another. And actually, if you look at it like from desktop, you can enter the Play Store and you're logged in. You can actually install the app from your desktop and it gets on your phone. And I've tried a bunch of times like to drive people like to the desktop version of Google Play, thinking, oh, they're gonna end up installing the app, and the install rate, they just like, we're talking 1% or 0 point something percent. Usually they just don't do it. Like even though it was technically feasible to install from there onto your device, just differently to what you're describing. But what I'm saying is people are not used to do it. They still don't do it. Maybe it will change over time, but it will take a while. Maybe not, just because it's the way we're used to do things. And at the end of the day, why I think it's kind of a good thing, I mean, it can be exciting as an ASO practitioner to have a new toy to play with and new market to expand and so on, is if you now have to think about your app design also for people working on a workstation, on desktop, it's a completely different use case in design and in experience and in how you manage the interaction, just the pointer, the size of the screen, the touchpad. I think it would be a nightmare for developer to have to do one app that is great to use on a small device that is very tactile, like touch, and on a device that is very big, very fixed, and has different kind of interaction tools, which are mouse and keyboards and stuff. And I think it would be like an insane challenge to make an app that works for both situations. So maybe it's a good thing, you know, life is complicated enough already to not add some extra complexity on top of it. Yeah.
Nice.
Maybe it's more interesting for iPad apps, I guess, because it's really hard to transform an iPhone app to Mac because, like you're saying, totally different gestures. But this whole marketing strategy from Apple, like the iPad is the new laptop. I think it's for those developers to make it easier to transform iPad apps to Mac apps, and maybe vice versa at some day, because the Mac App Store isn't that popular right now, and I'm not seeing that they will give this more attention, because they could if they would lock out websites from Mac apps and only let them download during their app store and not from websites. But this would be a huge change to the industry, I guess, and I'm not seeing that right now, to be honest. So Mac App Store will be a little bit on the side, but iPad rising more and more. So this direction from iPad to Mac, maybe that's happening for productivity tools. Like I know they showed like the Atlassian suit. I think WWDC last year or this year. So maybe that's a thing, but it's more like a niche. It's not for every vertical, I guess.
We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we can write it down to our next speech in December 2021
and compare
to see what have changed.
That's true. Yeah, and speaking about like these changes, okay, neither of us believe in the Mac Store by now, but yeah, we will see what's happening further. But the following question is, Johannes, what do you think about the iOS 14 changes? Does they bring something special for the users or for more marketing managers or not? Like,
I think for users, it's mainly a good thing. Because they will get higher privacy standards. So I'm talking about iOS users, of course. Maybe a negative thing for them will be the change in monetization strategy. So especially gaming will find it hard to get this ATT prompts and opt-ins to monetize via ads like they do right now. So more and more will shift to like IAP or subscription or something like that. And this is not really good for users because they have to pay. But maybe it's also good because I'm hearing from many people that they are really depressed, I would say, by this whole ad business because you're really confronted all over the place in those apps. And it's not just gaming, it's all those verticals like also recipe apps and that kind of stuff, where the ad frequency is very high. And maybe people are going to get more used to the fact, okay, I'm just paying one time or maybe a subscription if there's enough content and argumentation for this. And then I can use this product as it should be, and I'm not paying for winning and all that kind of stuff. So maybe it's good in the end for everyone. But on short term, I think for users, it's good. For marketeers, it will one of the biggest challenges in the recent years. I think that's for sure. And what I wanted to talk about, if you don't want to open up this big bottle, are the new nutrition labels we're seeing like yesterday or today in the App Store. I was thinking, okay, this is something more for the explorative users. So those who are scrolling through the product page and reading reviews and spending time in the App Store and building up their mind about an app or a few apps they're comparing, which is okay. We have always this explorative and decisive users. This is always be the case. But do they really understand what those nutrition labels mean? So there are some boxes, data linked to you and data tracked by the app, but do they really get what developers are saying there, or is it just okay? There's an app with a label which is like 4 pages long, like with Facebook and Instagram, and this is bad because they're tracking much data, and then there's Signal who are saying we don't tracking anything and this is good, or is there any differentiation in between where people can decide, okay, this is an amount of data which is okay to track, and this will maybe increase product management and all that kind of stuff, and this is the line where it gets worse. In my personal opinion, I don't think so, but I'm curious what you think.
Well, what I'm thinking about that is that it's a complete circus that is not made for user at all. And actually, you're thinking and looking into it because you're working in this environment. So of course we're interested because we have to feel it. We want to see how it looks, or we're curious because it affects us. But I think the average user, except some Germans who are the only one who go and read the terms of service ever, like the
That's
only
not
country,
true. That's
the only
not true.
country of where, I mean, I had one particular company, it was actually insane. We had like point something percent, so 0.3, 0.4 of people would actually enter the terms of service before like acting with the service. And when we opened in Germany, it was like 3%. Like it was completely insane. Like, 3% is not a lot, but it was like 10x more than the other one. It was completely insane. Anyway, putting this example aside, what I'm thinking is, one, there is zero user who's going to look for that. Like it's there, they're going to be there, they're just going to forget it. Like one of these elements on the store page has pretty much zero influence on your conversion. I mean, it's just like you can try to put a sentence in the middle of the description that say, don't download this app, it's a pile of crap, and your download rate is going to be the exact same because nobody ever gets there. And I think here it's a whole circus of like Apple saying, oh, we're showing this to users so that we offer transparency, where the real goal is for Apple to, one, understand what is really going on. And I think there's a lot of things that they're not entirely aware of what developers have been doing for years. And it's good that they're trying to figure it out. Maybe they should have figured it out before they designed their new system, but that's another conversation. And also as a almost legal protection and defense for later. Like when in 3 months, they're going to say, oh yeah, like, I don't know, you'll be caught doing something, uploading an audience on retargeting or whatever, and Apple will be able to say, hey, here, you declared that you didn't, you're out of the store. So for them, in my opinion, it's sort of a way to have you declare something officially, so that when they take measure, and say you said completely differently here, bye-bye, or take any other measure. So it's mostly like sort of a self-protective thing that in the end of the day is not bad. I mean, it's normal that Apple partly control what is going on in its store, probably better than doing the Google way that is pretty much, do whatever you want, we're good with that. Probably best, but it's a circus that it's made for the user. It's not made for the user. It's made for the Apple developer relationship, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Thomas. And I think that, how many users like actually from search, they're opening the app page, how many, like 10%? And how many of them are actually scrolling so deep to find all these cars, like 1 of 1,000. So that is maybe this can affect the ad traffic, like that's coming from the ads. You are landing on the app page, you can scroll down, you can find something, but I think it won't change anything. Of course, it will. What it will change actually, we spent lots of hours of our time to actually fill this form in the App Store Connect. So fortunately, Fastlane tools, you should use it. Fastlane tools has the configuration file that can upload it for you, but at least you have to fill it once. So yeah, it's just a thing that Apple can show for everyone. Hey guys, we care about privacy. Here are the cards, so you can use it, you can check it, and we care a lot about your privacy. So I don't think actually I think that they care, but this is quite a show. I totally agree with you. But anyway, they just doing their job. They're just we can't judge them. They're earning money. They're earning people minds, and that everybody in the world will think like Apple is doing great things. They care about our privacy. They're good guys. So they make this commission thing with 15% for me. So Apple, they're a good boy. So I love them. So that's it.
Nice compliments to Apple. Yeah, Johannes.
I mean, I'm with you for the most part, but I mean, like those moves from Apple, especially this year, are always PR to some extent, and legal issues. So I'm with Thomas on this, but I think there will be verticals where this might be an issue, those labels, and where you have more explorative users who are scrolling that like down on the product page, or maybe the same guys who are reading reviews, which are on top of those labels. For some verticals, I think there will will be no conversion decrease or uplift or something like that, because people don't care about this stuff and just download right from the first screen they see, maybe even from search. But I'm not sure if that's true for every vertical, because there are some where you, as a user and as a not that informed user, maybe you're always thinking, okay, they are collecting too much data. Yeah, like social media, obviously, and maybe gaming in some areas, and maybe other verticals where this privacy thing is an issue, especially for free products, where people more and more get, okay, if something is free, I'm the product, this kind of thing. And maybe we're seeing a conversion decrease for apps with bad labels. I'm not sure about the general statement here, but yeah, for some apps it's mainly not that important.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing, because before we move next, the friend of mine, he had a social app that actually are the target audience is guys like from 14 to like 16, something like this. And he told me that nobody in this age group, they don't care about privacy. They will allow you everything. So you can just make a 5-6 pushes on the launch, like allow location, allow photos, allow videos, allow music. They will allow everything for you. So this actually, and when you're downloading like Facebook or Telegram, WhatsApp, you won't actually look at these cards. Of course, it can affect, as I told, and as you, Johannes, said, it can affect browse traffic, it can affect app third-party traffic. So, but let's see how it will work. But right now, I don't think that it will change something.
Yeah, actually, like totally agree with Ilia and with the stuff that nobody cares about the privacy, because those one who cares still have the Nokia phones with the buttons, you know. Like we all are human beings, so we need to understand we are trapped. So guys, let us take a look at the retrospective of these changes, like iOS 14, etc. So if you remember the iOS 11, iOS 13, there are huge changes that's like completely different the ASO industry. But nowadays, the only changes that we are discussing now are connected to the privacy, some little things that are changing in the product page card, but really not that big that change for the marketing specialist, for example, for the ASOs itself. But in the same time, we see how the consoles are changing, how the attribution of the traffic is changing. How do you think, is there anything behind these divisions of changes? And is there any like correlations between these facts, or it's just something?
I guess that's because everybody is working from home, and then they're just doing some PR things and just polishing the front part of the consoles, and they can't do some significant changes in algorithms and App Store and Google Play. So the one thing that actually is changing is ADFA, and I guess one thing I want to discuss today is Apple Search Ads, that I think that it will rock next year, because this is actually the only paid channel you can easily attribute and track. And maybe all these things with privacy, with IDFAs, was done only to promote, only to push your spendings in the Apple Search Ads. Maybe I can just, I can put on my Sherlock glasses and call my Dr. Watson, but I think that it should be connected, all this privacy and IDFA with Apple Search Ads. Because actually Apple is about earning money. They are actually the company that earns money. And they don't want to give their money from search ads to another companies like Facebook and Google. So they just want to keep it inside. So I guess everything is connected here. I'm just making, I have this map on the wall with connected photos and trying to find out what exactly is going on. But my thoughts is
nice thing. And following this, the conspiracy theory that you just offered, there are one more thing connected with the Apple Search Ads, and many people think that there is two reasons why Apple tried to implement this policy. The first thing is Apple Search Ads, and let us discuss what we can expect from this thing. And the second thing is the SCAD network as the separate internal mobile attribution tool for iOS applications. So the two ways, and like Thomas, Johannes, Ilia already shared his thoughts about the ASA instrument. And what do you think about this situation?
I don't think it's a conspiracy here that sort of Apple deprecates the IDFA because they want to push search ads, although it certainly benefits it. So it's not.
No, it's not because it's just one of the maybe not reasons, but one of the things that will.
It's a cherry on the cake. I think what Johannes mentioned before, that it will partly incentivize some developer to rethink monetization through the store, through subscription, daily pass, IAPs instead of ads, is great for Apple because it means they take the commission on it. So, which is also, I don't think the reason why they did it, but they realized there was like positive effect on several of the other business, the ads business, the commission business, like. So yeah, it's a big win. If I take my crystal ball on this and I follow Ilia, I think Apple has a problem here, which is search ads, because it's search, as a scalability problem for us developers, but also for Apple. There's a moment they can't push the price of the inventory to infinity, and this year they've been starting testing a little bit apps in stock and news, which personally I think has a big scalability issue as well. Like it's not going to suddenly open up billions of ad spending because people spend their day in app and news. And my guess on this, and I don't have any information, it's not like Apple told me or anything, is that they're actually preparing to open up other inventory. Like search is just not enough. Like some kind of display inventory that is not only in the news and the stock apps, that are just not enough. When it will be, how it will be, I don't know. But I don't think like that they're gonna be happy enough with just the search ad part. And Apple search ads is gonna become Apple ads or Apple service ads or Apple whatever ads. And it's not gonna be only search. It's like UAC, you know, YouTube and the Play Console and the Google search and this and that and AdMob. Technically, is the large. I mean, AdMob and YouTube, they're the biggest part of UAC. Same here, like, and I think Apple at some point, will it be early? I don't think they're going to move that soon because they are seeing that they're under scrutiny and some. And one of my big arguments thinking that they will open up inventory is their ads team has hired like crazy, but like insane. And I mean, especially in Berlin, but also in other cities. And I mean, I've got every 3 days, I've got a notification on LinkedIn. Oh, your friend has joined Apple in the search ads team. Oh, like every 3 days. I'm like, what are all these people doing like all day? And I mean, they're doing a good job. It's not what I'm saying. I'm personally convinced that they've been hiring so much. They've been ramping up their support team because the product is about to evolve in a massive way, which I can't predict exactly how, but basically they're going to have more inventory. So my prediction one is this, like Apple Search Ads is going to be Apple Ads, and it's going to be much bigger than what it is now. The second one, and you mentioned that actually it's all on the developer side, measurement and nutrition and blah, blah, and the console. At some point, I think Apple will revamp again the App Store design and layout for the user. Like, I mean, there was one not so long ago. And I think to me, it was clear, it was iOS 13, right? I mean, it was last year, not the visual change or anyway, doesn't really matter.
11,
yeah, 11. Like
ago,
the big change was 11, which is already like fucking 3-4 years ago, which in our business is eternity. I think here they had the will to control more of the distribution of the store, to control discoverability, to put a lot more featuring than search in front. And I think that partly failed, actually, in the sense that I like the design, is not the problem. But if you're looking at the featuring numbers, they're actually smaller since that's changed than they were before. And search is not smaller. And I think here, Apple wants to control more of the distribution of apps. They don't want apps to be mainly relying on Facebook and Google and ad network traffic. They want to be the one who control and curate who has got visibility. And I think at some point, maybe it will wait until September, but there will be a major revamp of how the App Store look like to enable Apple to get more control about who gets more visibility. And I would think that search for them is not in the best interest to put search forward. Apple has never been mainly about search. They're about curating stuff and all. And I think they will do another revamp, like sort of. So maybe it's iOS 15. I don't know. Like, I don't know when, but I think it will come. Maybe they wanted to unbundle. They can't work on everything at the same time, but I can see. We're not there yet. We have like maybe a year until this happens, maybe 2. I don't know, but I think it will come because it's in Apple's best interest and it's aligned with what they did elsewhere. So revamping other things first for developers and this and the console and that and their search ads, and eventually bring the major piece here. We're talking about a piece of software that has like 500 million visitors a week. Like, it's insane. You can't redo it in a day, and you can't redo it every 3 days. But I think they will. So those are my 2 bets.
Yeah, you're totally right. And about the Explore part in the App Store, I just found a tweet. The guy called Josh Ellman, he joined App Store team some weeks ago. It's quite a surprise because he's a VC guy and joining the product team. So something is not clear here. But the thing that Apple will pay more attention to Explore is absolutely right, because it's better. Apple wants to offer us the apps, with in-apps, with subscriptions. So they offering us more subscription apps. We are buying more subscriptions. They are earning more money. So this is just a quite simple thing. And of course, search is not broken, but it's quite hard to find the good app in App Store right now. So Google is doing much better here. They are offering lots of apps and games on the main page. They have lots of ads there. They have ads in search as well. But so the Google recommendation system is working much more better than Apple one, and I think this will be the big thing maybe in the next few years about the App Store Explore channels and browse channels.
They already took a first step as personalized training service for the users. Probably this will be.
Yeah, that's not working. That's just some. I don't know how they work. Actually, there are lots of strange apps and lots of strange search terms. I don't know how should I use it. Okay. Anyway, we hope that the exploration system will be better. And this is actually the one important thing, that these are that small apps and indie apps, like the apps that I done, like Apple is promoting their kindergarten kids that actually are coding some calculators and other stuff. They won't have a chance to actually be downloaded in the App Store, because Apple will recommend only, maybe not only, but mostly like big apps with subscriptions, with paid apps. And if I just a freelancer, I want to create my own app, like an Apple told me from the WWDC stage, I can't promote it for free in the App Store. I will need to buy these Apple ads that will be like maybe in other apps. So I will have to spend money. And of course, this is a great thing for brands. This is a great thing for huge apps that apps will be promoted in the Explore section. But for the freelancers and for indies, that's quite a not really great future, because you will need to like Google is forcing you to spend money on the Google UX to get some downloads. The same thing, I guess, will be the Apple. Apple will force you to spend money on the search ads, or Apple ads anyway, to get some downloads. So just the thing is that you need to create like a huge apps that will actually work, and not just a colorless calculator, for example, that built by my son, and I don't know.
Great advice for all indie developers that are with us now. Johannes, do you want to add something like about the forecast and like this topic?
Yeah, sure. I'm wondering, because okay, we're having this situation right now with Google UAC. So there's ads in search, and also search ads on Google Play Browse, how they call it. So everything except search or with search. Even this is not very clear to me, to be honest. But we're seeing ads everywhere on the Google Play Store right now. And even this is very limited to me. So maybe they're gonna revamp the Apple App Store, because there's some feature fatigue. So people are seeing many features and scrolling through them, but hardly download apps there. And I'm seeing cohorts from features who don't convert at all. So this is mainly branding and just visibility in the App Store, but not good traffic. And with USC, it's same to some extent. So this is also very limited if you're just looking at the Apple App Store. It would be very difficult to do because they would have to do like this whole revamp Thomas mentioned. And the effect on the long term wouldn't be that great, in my opinion, because the Apple ads or Apple services ad would be very limited after all. So my question would be, are they going to do iAd 2.0? So are they shifting from the App Store to apps to an ad network themselves, to websites maybe, where they're displaying apps? Because okay, this will expand reach and therefore revenue for Apple, that's for sure. But it's also very hard to convert those users because it's typically not the best traffic we're getting there. And Apple is not that good into machine learning like Google. I think we have to accept this. But we have many mobile verticals where this top of mind thing is very important. Like live with delivery services, for example. If you're Lieferando or I don't know, Bolt or that, it's not called Bolt, it's Bolt from Berlin, and all that kind of apps. You have to invest in brand awareness, because if people think about, okay, I want to deliver something and to my home, they have to think about Lieferando, for example. So maybe this iAd 2.0 thing would help them to gain visibility in those channels and therefore increase brand awareness, and this is maybe the strategy Apple is investing. But they also have this history with iAd and it was not good. So I'm not sure if they're gonna do this one more time because it's not their core business. They are hardware manufacturers after all. I'm not sure about this. Mm-hmm. What's your take?
The one thing I hope that we don't get the ads on the iPhone lock screen. So someday I hope. As you know, always some devices have this.
Johannes, like just to close, I think to close this, I think it's a great input. But my take on it is they will sort of expand inventory. I don't know if it's going to be up to iAd 2.0, and they're trying to figure out where's the limit, where is the inventory that they have that they can monetize. You see that they were mentioning that now when you're installing the system, they're suggesting app. And I thought, this is a perfect placement to stick some more ads. And just like every other business that works on ad, they're thinking about where can we stick more ads. And I understand your doubts on maybe they're not going to replicate this experience. It's not their core business. They had a really bad experience before. And I was the first to think that. And I had a very strong bet that they would never do Apple search ads at all. And when they did, I was mind blown. Wow, they prefer to let in the App Store people who pay position themselves first rather than Apple decides who get to be first. And for me, it was super counterintuitive. And so here I'm now that they got a taste of it and that they're seeing it's big money, it's going to be tempting, even if it's not in their DNA, even if it goes against the past experience, even if it makes the App Store a little bit more dirty, let's say, in a way. I think the money is just too good to take, and they will end up doing it for that. So I was wrong saying they're going to do ads. Am I going to be wrong saying they're going to do more ads? It's going to be a funny thing. If I'm wrong both times, I'm really terrible.
I don't think you're wrong on this, but to which extent? This is the question. So is it just the App Store? Is it beyond the App Store? That was my question. So I think the App Store is quite clear they're going to go there, and also their own proprietary apps like news and stocks, and maybe they find some other where they can fit ads. And I think that's quite sure. And they also had this in their terms, right? They already relabeled it to Apple Services ads or something like that. So I would bet some small money on this, that this will happen, but I'm not sure about this thing beyond their own.
I'm not sure either. You're right,
so-
and they will definitely start on first-party inventory. Will they ever get to third-party? That's more unknown. I agree on that.
And I hope it won't end eventually like I add. So it was a quite short life of the service, and it's ended. So
true.
At the same time, next year we'll see and like discuss in the same circle. We're a little bit limited of time, but we are very in the middle of a very nice discussion and giving the forecasts and trends for the new upcoming year in terms of the ASO features. And the thing that I want to ask you as well, the trend with the Chinese store. So China is a huge market for lots of different products and games and apps, etc. And now what we can see, there are two trends. So speaking about the Apple connection with the Chinese government is becoming more and more tight. We can see that there are lots of removals that followed like recently. For example, the TripAdvisor was removed from the Chinese store, the new policy for the gaming apps. So Apple definitely moving forward like in this cooperation with Chinese government and going probably to clean the App Store in China. At the same time, we see that the Huawei start to promote the App Gallery store really aggressively. So they started, I guess, like a year ago. But this year they really pushing this forward. So how do you think what will and Google is banned. So how do you think what will happen with the Chinese market? And in terms of the ASO perspective, do we, the ASO marketers, need to learn how to make the proper ASO in Huawei App Store, or what is the future with this part?
Actually, I don't know a lot about the Chinese market and all the stuff. We tried to publish our apps in Chinese markets several years ago. It ended with nothing, and that's why we just forgot about this. But I spent lots of time to do this, so don't try to make it on the time. As for Huawei, they're really pushing hard. They're doing lots of promotions, and they actually have the budget for developers. So if you're publishing your app and using the Huawei services, you'll get a financial help from the Huawei. But I would like to see what will happen with Huawei Store when this promotion will end. So will developers use the Huawei Store? We have several apps in there, and we don't see lots of traffic. But my friends from games apps, from games actually, they reporting that they have some traffic there, that they have several, maybe 1,000 of new downloads every day for their games. But I guess this is just another thing, and it works for games right now, because I tried to actually use the Huawei phone without the Google services, and this is quite a strange purchase actually, that you're buying the high-end device, you're spending how many, 600 euros, 700 euros for the device without Google Play services. This is quite strange decision. Anyway, it's up to anyone. It's not my advice not to buy. It's a great device, but talking about the Huawei Store, I think it will. The first thing that they don't have any other options, but to promote their store, they need to use their apps. They need to offer apps. People need to use apps. And the second thing, I wonder how far they are ready to go. So do they have unlimited budgets to promote their apps, to promote their store? What should they do? Thank you. And how long it will live, and that's a big question, because actually we are looking forward to Huawei. We are actually planning to make our fully featured apps in Huawei Store next year, but we need to to see some traffic there. That's actually the chicken egg problem, when developers are waiting for some traffic from the Huawei Store and Huawei Store waiting for developers. So who will be the first to do this? That's a question. But I think the Huawei Store will live like the Amazon one. Amazon Store is growing, not really fast, but it's growing. Actually, the funny thing, games has lots of traffic there in Amazon Store, and Store. So it's working great for games. But for other apps, for our apps, I guess we need to wait some time. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, in non-gaming, I had the same experience over and over and over again with like all the third-party stores. The Amazon store, the Xiaomi store, the Samsung store, the Huawei store, and China has actually 300 plus of these stores. Like it's insane. They've got like it's an interesting. I'm not a specialist on China at all, but like it's super interesting how different it is to our internet in general and store usage in particular. The reality to me is that up to now, it's still pretty much only the two big store if you're outside of China, like at the moment. And maybe that's because of my non-gaming bias. And in gaming, there is traffic on the Amazon store and it's starting to ramp up on Huawei. The other one, I'm not too sure, but whatever. I think here, if it can happen, is this one with Huawei, because they're really putting such a massive effort behind, like to incentivize developers to get there, to promote the store both to developer and user. Like they're really doing a huge effort. So it could be that they're the one who finally make it, but we're not there yet. Like it's been very small. The few apps that I've tried to put on the store, on the Huawei store in particular, the other one, like it just didn't justify the effort of maintenance and all. But maybe it will change. The thing is, I read last year, like in the predictions and stuff, oh, this is the year where the third-party store are going to finally be significant, and we're still not there yet. It might happen at some point, but I think it's going to take a lot of time to move users there.
Yeah.
And then there's also one more thing, that there's a possibility. This whole thing that Huawei is pushing its own store, it's because it was blocked from Google services. But the reason it was blocked from Google services is because Trump decided that this company has a security issue, national security issue, and it's not Google who decided to kick them out. And at some point, because there is a change in the US administration, it might be that the Democrat administration say, you know what, these guys, they're not that bad, let's bring them in, and that Huawei is allowed again. And in which sense, are they going to keep pushing like the promotion of the store or not? Like if this happens, like it might be, the decision might be reverted now that the politics have changed behind. And so me personally, my bet is that it's going to take a long time for anyone to be a significant player beyond Apple and Google, if it ever happens. I could be wrong. I'm just,
yeah. So if this decision will be pushed back, so it seems that Huawei is spending lots of money just for no reason. So I think the problem is that right now they need to do something. Yeah, they don't have an option. They push promoting their store, but maybe when the Samsung devices got rejected from the Play services, they will have another store. And yeah, I think that's. I don't think that's during the next year we'll see some big share of the Huawei in actually every third-party store. And they say the one thing I just remembered from our Chinese experience that that these small Chinese stores, they actually are downloading your APK file, your app from the Google Play and publishing in their stores by themselves. So and we have to spend lots of time to gain actually our right for these apps. So they just publishing from themselves, and we writing these documents. Yes, this is our app. Please give us the right to update it. So this is, let's say, if you need the special experience, Chinese stores are welcome.
I know a developer who's doing really well in China, but is iOS only. He said, I don't want it's too much problems to have an APK file there. Yeah. I mean, it's big business, huh? But you need to hire Chinese people. It's a different ecosystem, it's a different mentality. I don't think any of us could do it well there.
It's only worth it for the big players, I guess, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
If you're at peak App Store and Google Play, then maybe you're investing in third-party stores. But it's like everywhere, and those platforms aren't going to come up in just some period in time. So I think like what we're seeing with shopping on Amazon, it's always become less and less players in the market and not more. So this whole shift to third-party app store would be the exact opposite of what we're seeing in most markets. And I'm with Thomas. I have also not that much understanding of the Chinese market, and also I'm very non-gaming biased. But I don't believe that this will take a huge role outside of China. But if you're investing in the Chinese market for some reason, and this is important to you, then you should look into this. But for every other app who is not a couple of millions or billions great, I think it's not worth investing. And this is maybe one thing to add, also true for the third-party app stores from developers themselves, like Epic. I think this was the maybe biggest PR disaster I've ever seen, because in the end it was nothing as PR for Epic, and a very bad one. And all those security problems with their own store and massive reach they lost. I think this is a really, really hard signal for every developer. Don't do this and play by the rules by Apple and Google. Even if you're saying maybe the fee is too high or something like that, okay, antitrust and all that kind of stuff is okay. But in the end, you have to come together with those guys and play by the rules. That's my take. Yeah.
And actually, the question, like following one, how do you think what will be the Google response for this? So Apple downgrade this the commission fee for some like groups of the developers. So how do you think, guys? Will Google do the same thing, or they will just like ignore it?
I think firstly Google should transfer everyone to their payment systems. As I know, that everyone can pay by cards in Google Apps, so it's a Android app. So the first thing here is to bring everybody to the Google Pay system, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they'll get there. I also think they'll get there, like, because they announced that they're moving everybody to forced payment, and then they will follow. I think the main reason that they will follow is that it really costs them little money. At the end of the day, the App Store, like, they're so short-tailed. Just a few developers who make the vast majority. I mean, their numbers are there to say like 2% make 95% or something like that. And at the end of the day, it's great if for the many indies out there, it does a big difference. Like people who earn under $1 million. The great thing here is that for Google or Apple, it's actually a very little effort to make. The problem that Google has is Apple already got all the good karma from this PR stunt. They already got like all the credit for doing it. And if they do it, okay, it costs them little to do, but they're not going to benefit as much because they're always going to be seen like, yeah, you had to move, like you had to wait for Apple to actually do it until you do it. You're not that much pro developers. Like, so I think the effort is little for them, but the benefit is also little in that sense that it's too late to, like, you can't make this big splash out there when you're the second one. I still think they'll do it, but in 6 months, 1 year, and great for indies. I'm happy for everyone who can benefit from that, and it's going to help launch. But the truth at the end of the day is that it doesn't make a big difference. Like, it makes a big difference if you're an indie developer, and that's great. But that's it. It's a little change for the App Store ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
I found it interesting that every time Apple is copying something Google has done for the past years, most UX stuff, but some business things also, this is mostly great. And people thinking, okay, now they're doing this correctly, like with widgets, for example. This was a huge success and Google has it for years and it was never even mentioned greatly. But if it's the other way around and Google is copying something from Apple, it's always not a great PR move. I think that's in the company's DNA because people tend to trust Apple more than Google, and you rarely see Google fanboys. You mostly see Apple fanboys, I guess. Just an interesting thing I thought about.
I guess here that it's not just copying, they transforming it, adapting it to the users. So you can't just copy one thing and trust that you can copy the Flappy Bird game and it will successful long time ago, but you can't copy some business things and you can copy some other things and trust that it will be successful for your audience. So you need to adapt to your audience, and I hope maybe Google will definitely move on with these commissions and all this stuff, but when they switch to the Google Play service, of course.
What do you mean this other stuff? Do you mean the GAID?
I'm pretty sure that I don't know how the IDFA called in the Android devices.
It's GAID.
GAID also will be deprecated and all these privacy things, because that's not really good from the like public perspective, that people saying, hey, Apple is caring about the privacy. Of course, we know that they actually not really care, but people see these cars, people see the statements about the privacy and see Apple is the privacy king here. But Google is just what? Nothing. So I think
what I'm thinking they will end up doing it, but they're gonna keep it for quite a little while, maybe at least 1 year or two. Maybe they will do it when they deprecate the cookies on the web at the same time or something. And I think it benefits them right now a lot to tell developers like, hey, you're here, they're not allowing you to do your business properly, but we do. And like, okay, maybe for the end user, they can't take we're the good guys in privacy. I mean, it's too late. We know their business is based on personalizing ads. So it's in their DNA that they can't really make it. But then they can make it for developers and say, look, we're developer friendly. We're going to let you use that. Why? Also not because they're developer friendly, because it's in their own interest, because the money is coming from AdMob. And so obviously, if more developers are incentivized to do more effort on Android because they know it's going to be there and do more advertising, it's good for them because they have the Play Store, but they also have like AdMob. So at the end of the day, I think they're going to delay this as much as they can. And at some point, some regulation is going to come and say, no, you can't do this anymore. But as long as they can, they will. And that's my bet.
So eventually we will end with two major ad networks worldwide, Apple ads and Google ads. And any other ad network will be dead.
Well,
and what will Facebook do?
Sorry, what will Facebook do? Because today they're the biggest one. So.
And Johannes, what is
you can't measure your Facebook ads without ADFA, and you can't attribute them. You can't do it. You're just getting some downloads for some numbers in Facebook console, Facebook Ad Manager, but you get some random numbers about downloads and spending. That's actually the problem for the Facebook.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough year. I'm selling my stock.
And Johannes, what is your bet for the next year? What do you think will happen?
Yeah, I have a similar one to Thomas, to be honest. So I think Google will have to do it at some level. I don't think they will promote this bigly. They will do this in quiet and take their developers by hand and educate them, and also mainly the big ones because they are most interesting to them, and educate them over the next months, years. I don't know how to do this on iOS, on Android. Sorry. But from a user perspective, I think more and more people will try to force Google into a similar behavior. And like Ilia said, okay, Apple maybe don't have only privacy in mind with those changes. This is true because after all, they are a company and they're here to make money. But I think that privacy, because they are a hardware manufacturer at the end of the day, I think privacy is more in their DNA that we might think of, because all those conspiracy theories might be true to some extent, but I think they really care about privacy. And the thing that this fits into their business strategy is a good thing which happens along this. And they're connecting the dots very intelligently, I think. And Google has a hard time to this because they don't have this story. They don't have a user-friendly and PR story which fits to their business needs. So they will try to delay this as much as they can and do as little as they can to fit in, maybe law or regulatory from other kind of perspectives, because they have to, but not more than, because Apple is doing this step and shifting an industry. So nobody forced Apple to do this. They took the first step into this, and Google will never do this. They will always follow because it's not good for them.
Okay, nice. Thanks, guys, for all the insights. Actually, a very interesting discussion I think we have. And let us take a couple of questions from the chat, because I guess the people want to know the answers. And then, so the first question was about the ASOS itself for the game industry. So Johannes asking us, will we start with the mobile game marketing? ASO is okay, but no one finds the app. Not much happened with 50-step budget. So let us prove with the cases probably, or something that the ASO works for either for apps and games, but there are different strategies. So
to be honest, I would give this question to the other folks, because I'm really not into gaming. We have not a single gaming client at the moment. I'm not the best to answer this.
I'll take a chance, although I'm also very much non-gaming, but I'll say something that applies to both. Is it hard to, what is going to happen if you publish a great game, do more or less decent screenshot, and you put it out there? Nothing. It is guaranteed. Like, nothing is going to happen. And just growing organically from ASO, and let's say from search and explore, from zero, is really, really hard. There's this reality that the stores are shut. There are a lot of indies living out there, but it's a tough business. It's a really tough business. And here my answer is not to be only negative, is that there is a third way between relying on pure ASO and relying on paid ad networks and giving your money to Facebook and Google and the other ones. And there are lots of other ones who want your money. But it's the long way. It's like, sort of, instead of receiving this injection of money, you're bootstrapped. It's the same thing. Is build a community, develop a relationship, like create a strong base of early fans. Maybe it's really few, but get from there and have them publish it. Do influencer marketing from micro influencer, not because you pay them, but because they strongly believe in this. And I think here we took the easy route of, oh, I'm going to get free traffic. That's awesome, which did happen in the stores a long time ago when the competitiveness was less. It's really hard to make a huge difference from ASO if you're a small guy today. Like, big apps, they have to work ASO because it makes a huge difference. Small app, they do it because they're trying, but it's really hard. That's the reality. And the paid part, what did you say? Like, not much happened with 50 cents a time. Here's the thing: is paid advertising works if your monetization is aligned with it. Like, it forces you to have, like, and the price keep going up and up and up and up. Like, there's a lot of people who approach me like, oh, I want to do UA. What should I check first? What I'm doing is like, show me your revenue per user first. If you're making 50 cents per download in the US, forget about paid advertising and do other things. Is it harder and it takes more time? Yes. But are ASO and paid ads the only way you can promote your app? No. Develop your own audience, maybe through social, maybe through email list, maybe through the web. Maybe, in my opinion, the best is through a hardcore community, people who really love you. Maybe they're only 100 or 1,000, but you grow from there and you build from there. It's going to take much longer. It's not the easy way. But there's no silver bullet that is magic. Like, I wish I would have an answer, because then I wouldn't be on this panel. I would be taking a mojito on the beach because my app are rich, you know. But the truth is, there's no simple answer to this question.
But it's really hard for gaming. Oh, sorry, Ilia, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just got a couple of words. Yeah, there's gaming is a something like I don't know how to try it, because I spent always 6 years working with apps, and I actually. So what should I write in my description? The one thing we knew from our recent research that the most of the game apps in Google Play, most of the games are getting their traffic, like maybe 70-80% of their traffic from Google Play Browse Explore. So they are just being featured in the different collections. They're being included in the similar apps. So the key, I guess, here, the one of the keys actually is trying to get included in the similar apps for some famous games. So maybe this can help. We just make some researches and we'll share the data soon about the traffic sources. And one of the, I guess, if you want to work with App Store, Google Play, and ASO, getting included in the similar collections for some famous games is one of the possible ways to get traffic.
Thanks, guys, for the answer. Just like
so there was something from the Johannes.
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit making up the question even bigger. But I think Thomas is right. You have to find other channels to promote an app, but this might be really hard for gaming, right? Because if you're a productivity app, maybe, so you're going on Twitter and you're posting like all those indies about updates and stuff is going on in the industry and all that kind of stuff, and then you're always displaying your app, of course, because you're working on it and building a user base with only this and this social media outreach you're gaining from this, and maybe also a newsletter and all kinds of stuff you can make. But for a game, I've seen this very rarely because, Twitter might not be the right place for this. There are maybe one or two indies I'm following who are into gaming and who have a social media outreach there. Instagram, I don't think any of this will fit in there. What is the channel for gaming? This was
Reddit,
my question
Discord,
as you answered
Twitch,
it.
Reddit, Discord, Twitch, but you have to convince people there to try it themselves and to showcase it. But there are big gaming communities, like huge.
And yes, of course, and the cross promos are working perfectly for the games industry. So you just need to test the channels and find your own. So actually, I totally disagree with you guys about the ASO dead for the games. It's of course hardly to implement, but we have lots of cases when the ASO activities lower the CPAs for the user acquisition channels, etc. So probably the ASO is not the first source for traffic for the games, but it's definitely the best practice to affect your other channels. So experiment with the graphic, work with the conversion rate, try to increase your browse traffic, explore one. So there are different ways how you may implement the ASO in speaking with games. But when
we are talking about ASO is dead for games, it's not like it's dead for the explorer. So you can't find people actually don't search for games like for apps. It's not working like this. So, but when we're talking about the conversion rates and optimization, about the CPIs and all this stuff, of course it's working. Of course, the great game screenshots are lowering your CPIs. Of course, it's increasing your conversion rate. You get more chances to get featured, included in some collections, and all this stuff. So it's absolutely working. It's just not that simple for the discovery.
For the record, I never said ASO is dead, and I also agree that it's as important as ever, or probably more, to do a great work on the ASO side. What I try to say is, you can't make a bet. You're an indie. You make a bet that ASO is going to grow your app on its own. It's like part of other activities.
That's true.
I wanted to set the record because I do not think that ASO is dead at all.
That's a nice clarification because, So guys, we are running out of time. And my very final question to you would be, first of all, I would like to thank all of you that you joined this session today. We have a huge audience. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And this is one of the last sessions before the new year. So my final question would be, if you had one professional wish that you can wish, and either Apple or Google can make this wish come true, what it will be? So what you can order from these Santa Clauses from Apple and Google?
I have the exact same request for the last 7 years. I want custom landing page in the stores.
Just a reliable data for me, just reliable data. So that I just can download my data about downloads, impressions, conversion rate, and I can trust it. So this is the one thing I would like to see in the App Store, Google Play, Huawei Store, Amazon, any other store.
Okay.
Just the data.
Yeah.
Johannes, what will your
Where to start? I think the three most important things, along to the ones Thomas and Ilia mentioned, would be more data on the user journey inside the App Store. So something like Metrics or Store Maven does right now inside the App Store, not to this extent maybe, but a little bit more knowledge about how users searching apps and scrolling through your product page. This would be great. Of course, keyword level reporting, that you're not reliant on Azure, or maybe you have some keyword reporting on Google at all, because it completely faded away. And the third thing, of course, A/B testing on iOS.
Yes.
I think those are the three which immediately come to mind. Yeah.
Nice wishes. I hope that's probably next year, or who knows, this year was crazy, so probably the next year Apple and Google will hear your wishes and like will make them true. So once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and once again, thank you very much. I wish you all like Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and really, as Thomas said at the beginning, have a good holidays, because the next year would be
Absolutely. Yeah,
Again.
absolutely. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. Thank you for this great conversation. It was really, really nice to see you. Hope in the next year, maybe on the some of the conference, we'll be able to meet personally with all you guys on the screen and in the chat. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Thank you too. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.